You felt it before you had words for it. Something is shifting. Something ancient is breaking. You are not crazy. You are not imagining it. You are not over-spiritualizing your life. You are witnessing a covenant shift over your bloodline. Chosen one, you were never ordinary. You were inserted into your lineage as an interruption, a disruption, a divine contradiction to cycles that thought they would live forever. Have you noticed it? The tension in the air, the subtle unraveling, the way old patterns are losing their grip. You grew up watching certain stories repeat, same failures, same addictions, same relational chaos, same poverty mindset, same emotional explosions. It was predictable, like clockwork. But now something is malfunctioning. Listen carefully. This is not coincidence. This is not maturity alone. This is not random growth. This is protection under a new covenant. There are 9 signs your bloodline karma is formally dissolving under God's protection. Not slowly fading, not negotiating, dissolving. And only the chosen recognize it while it's happening. You have felt isolated. You have felt misunderstood. You have felt like the strange one in your own family. That was not rejection. That was separation for assignment. Stay with me. Engage with this message. Subscribe if you are ready to step fully into what you were marked for. Because what you are experiencing is not small. It is legal in the spirit, and it is irreversible. First, the patterns that once repeated like clockwork suddenly collapse without warning. You noticed it, didn't you? Situations that normally would have triggered you didn't. Arguments that should have escalated fizzled. Temptations that hooked others in your bloodline lost their power mid-moment. You stood there thinking, why doesn't this move me anymore? Because the script glitched when it reached your name. For generations, certain cycles had permission. Poverty cycles, betrayal cycles, abandonment cycles, self-sabotage cycles. They ran through your lineage like inherited software. But when it came to you, something refused to load. Have you felt that internal pause? That moment where you almost reacted the old way? But something stopped you that is not willpower alone. That is covenant interference. You are under a different covering. Psychologically, you are becoming aware. Spiritually, you are being shielded. Emotionally, you are breaking contracts you never signed consciously. And it confuses people because they expect you to follow the family pattern. They expect you to explode like they did, quit like they did, tolerate what they tolerated, but you don't, and they feel it. Chosen one, what trapped them cannot legally hold you anymore. Do you understand what that means? This is not rebellion. This is not superiority. This is deliverance. The enemy built generational pathways, assuming you would walk them. But heaven marked you as an exit point, so the repetition stops, abruptly, uncomfortably, sometimes even violently. You may feel disoriented because familiarity is dissolving. You may feel alone because you are no longer synchronized with inherited dysfunction. But isolation is the price of transformation, and transformation is proof of protection. The darkness is losing access, the cycle is breaking mid-spin, and you are standing in the middle of what your ancestors prayed for, but never saw. Stand firm. This is only the beginning. Second, old family spirits of conflict grow restless around your silence. You have seen it. The moment you stop arguing, the pressure increases. The moment you refuse to defend yourself, accusations multiply. The moment you choose peace, chaos tries harder. Have you wondered why? Because drama used to feed on your participation. Conflict used to survive through your reaction. Emotional warfare used to pass through you like inheritance. But now you do not engage the same way, and it unsettles them. Chosen one, your silence is not weakness. It is authority. You are no longer inheriting battles that were designed before you were born. You are no longer carrying emotional burdens that were never yours to hold. You are breaking an unspoken contract. And when you break a contract, the spirit behind it reacts. You have felt it. The strange tension when you stay calm. The frustration when you refuse to argue. The subtle hostility when you do not take the bait. They do not understand why you are different, but you do. You are covered. There used to be a pattern, raised voices, emotional explosions, manipulation disguised as love. guilt used as control, and you were expected to participate. That was the script. But now the atmosphere shifts when you enter the room. Have you noticed that conversations change when you speak? Energy shifts when you remain composed. Old tactics lose effectiveness. Because your restraint exposes what was once normalized. You are revealing dysfunction simply by not agreeing with it. Light does not argue with darkness. It exposes it. And exposure makes darkness uncomfortable. So the warfare intensifies. Not because you are losing, but because you are no longer available. This is deeper than personality. This is spiritual detachment. You are not cold. You are consecrated. You are not distant. You are discerning. You can feel when an argument is bait. You can sense when manipulation is trying to pull you back into an old role. But you refuse. And that refusal is rewriting generational agreements. Psychologically, you are regulating. Spiritually, you are fortified. Emotionally, you are no longer reactive. That is not random growth. That is covenant protection reshaping your nervous system. The enemy thrived in your bloodline through emotional chaos, through division, through repeated cycles of offense and retaliation. But now you carry peace that does not belong to your upbringing, and that peace is warfare. Understand this. When spirits of conflict grow restless around you, it is because they have lost access. They used to enter through your anger. They used to move through your wounds. They used to manipulate your fear. But you are not responding the same way. And what does not get fed begins to starve. Yes, some will misunderstand your silence. Yes, some will accuse you of changing. You did change. That is the point. You are not here to preserve dysfunction. You are here to dismantle it. Not everyone will understand this shift. Only the chosen recognize when peace is a weapon. Stand in it. Do not defend it. Do not apologize for it. Your calm is a boundary. Your restraint is a shield. Your composure is evidence that something ancient is breaking, and this is only getting deeper. Third, you feel a holy detachment from the roles you were assigned at birth. You have felt it quietly. The label does not fit anymore. The expectation feels foreign. The weight feels unnecessary. You were called the fixer, the scapegoat, the black sheep, the strong one, the responsible one. But lately, those identities feel like costumes you outgrew. Have you noticed that the guilt is weaker? The pull to rescue is fading. The need to explain yourself is dissolving. That is not rebellion. That is consecration. You were miscast in a narrative written before you had a voice, a script drafted by wounded people trying to survive their own unresolved pain, and you inherited a role, not because it was true, but because it was available. Listen carefully. When bloodline karma begins dissolving, the false identities attached to you begin falling off. The fixer role weakens. The scapegoat label cracks. The black sheep title loses authority. Why? Because you were never meant to carry the dysfunction of others as your identity. You were never meant to stabilize chaos at the cost of your destiny. For years, obligation controlled you. Emotional obligation, cultural obligation, family obligation. You felt responsible for keeping peace, responsible for absorbing tension, responsible for holding everything together. But now obligation is losing its grip. You are learning to say no without shaking. You are learning to withdraw without guilt. You are learning to exist without overcompensating. And that feels dangerous, because when you step out of a role, the system that depended on it trembles. Have you sensed that tremble? The confusion, the subtle accusations, the "you've changed" whispers? Yes, you have changed, because you are no longer answering to your surname first. You are answering to a higher name. Chosen one, your identity is being realigned under covenant protection. You are not the family pattern breaker by accident. You are not the emotional shock absorber by destiny. You are marked, and when heaven marks you, earth's labels lose power. Psychologically, this is individuation. Spiritually, this is separation for assignment. You are not detaching because you do not care. You are detaching because you are called. There is a difference. The world calls detachment coldness. Heaven calls it consecration. You feel less entangled, less reactive, less obligated to prove your love through sacrifice. And that shift unsettles people, Because when you stop overfunctioning, others must face their own responsibilities. When you stop being the scapegoat, truth has nowhere to hide. When you stop being the fixer, people must confront what they avoided. This is warfare at the identity level. The enemy used roles to limit you, used guilt to contain you, used family expectation to anchor you in survival mode. But you are stepping into calling, and calling requires detachment from distortion. Stand firm. You are not losing your family. You are losing a false version of yourself. And when that version dissolves, destiny steps forward. This is deeper than behavior. This is a name change in the spirit, and it is only intensifying. Fourth, generational fears lose their authority over your decisions. You feel it. The fear is still whispering, but it is no longer commanding. What terrified your ancestors does not terrify you the same way. The fear of leaving, the fear of starting over, the fear of success, the fear of being seen, the fear of losing approval, it is there. But it does not own you. Have you noticed that you still feel the echo of their anxiety? You still hear the inherited caution, the survival language, the warnings disguised as wisdom. Stay small. Don't risk too much. Don't stand out. Be grateful for what you have. That voice shaped generations. But it does not rule you. Chosen one, this is not arrogance. This is authority returning to the right place. For years, your bloodline operated in survival mode. Survival thinking, survival decisions, survival marriages, survival careers, and survival feels safe, but it keeps destiny small. Now something is shifting inside you. The fear that once dictated obedience is losing its legal grip. You feel the hesitation, but you move anyway. That is new. You apply when they would have withdrawn. You speak when they would have stayed silent. You build when they would have settled. Why? Because you are no longer operating under the ceiling they accepted as permanent. The ceiling feels like open sky to you, and that terrifies the old system. Understand this. When generational fear loses authority, warfare intensifies. The enemy tries to resurrect caution, tries to amplify doubt, tries to whisper worst-case scenarios into your imagination. But you do not bow the same way. You feel fear, and you move forward. That is courage born from covenant. Psychologically, you are expanding your capacity. Spiritually, you are breaking ancestral agreements with limitation. This is deeper than confidence. This is permission restored. Your ancestors did what they could with what they knew. They survived wars, poverty, trauma, rejection, oppression. They built walls to stay safe. But you were not born to maintain the walls. You were born to walk beyond them. And when you step beyond inherited fear, something inside you awakens. A strength that feels ancient, a boldness that feels protected. You sense it. You are not reckless. You are covered. There is a difference. The world calls you risky. Heaven calls you released. What once dictated your obedience now feels negotiable. What once felt impossible now feels inevitable. And that shift is dangerous to darkness, because fear was the leash. Fear was the chain. Fear was the ceiling. But when fear loses authority, destiny gains momentum. Listen carefully. You are not dishonoring your bloodline by going further. You are honoring it by finishing what they could not. Stand in that truth. Do not shrink back. Do not apologize for your expansion. The sky was always wider than they were told, and you were always meant to see it. This is only getting higher. Fifth, sudden clarity about hidden family secrets emerges without bitterness. This is where it shifts. You start seeing things you were never supposed to see. Patterns behind the patterns, motives behind the behavior, pain behind the control. Truth rises, but rage does not. Have you noticed that you uncover stories that were buried? Affairs, addictions, financial collapse, abuse, betrayal, silent rivalries, generational jealousy, and instead of exploding, you become still. That stillness is not weakness, it is awakening. In the past, revelation would have triggered anger. You would have taken sides, carried offense, inherited grudges. But now you see trauma as inheritance, not identity. That changes everything. You realize your bloodline was not cursed because it was evil. It was wounded. It was fractured. It was surviving unresolved pain. and you were born into the middle of it. But you are not defined by it. Listen carefully. When bloodline karma dissolves under covenant protection, exposure becomes purification. Secrets surface because they are losing power. Hidden things rise because darkness cannot survive light. Truth emerges because contracts are being revoked. And you do not respond with destruction, you respond with clarity. That clarity is dangerous, because bitterness would have chained you to the same cycle. Bitterness would have made you reactive. Bitterness would have made you vengeful. Bitterness would have kept you emotionally entangled. But you feel sober understanding. You see what happened. You see who was hurt. You see how trauma shaped decisions. And you refuse to let it define you. That is power awareness. You are no longer operating from unconscious loyalty to dysfunction. You are not defending broken systems out of misplaced allegiance. Compassion replaces denial. Discernment replaces blind obedience. And that shift is supernatural. The enemy thrives in secrecy, thrives in silence, thrives in generational shame. But when you see clearly and stay unpoisoned, darkness loses leverage. You become a mirror that does not distort, a witness that does not react, a breaker of cycles who refuses to absorb the residue. That is new covenant protection in motion. You are strong enough to know the truth without being consumed by it. You are mature enough to understand without collapsing into it. You are spiritually guarded enough to expose without becoming bitter. That is elevation. Do you feel it? You are no longer just surviving your bloodline. You are transcending it. You are no longer just avoiding dysfunction. You are dismantling it by refusing to internalize it. This is where many fail. This is where bitterness would have taken you out. But you did not fall. You stood. And your calm exposure is rewriting history. Chosen one, you carry something rare. You carry light that does not burn uncontrollably. It purifies. And when exposure becomes purification instead of destruction, you know the covenant is active. You are not here to shame your lineage. You are here to heal it by breaking its secrecy. Stand steady. This awakening is only expanding. Sixth, unusual favor begins interrupting long-standing limitations. This is where it becomes undeniable. You start walking through doors no one in your bloodline could open. Opportunities appear in areas where your family history reads like a list of closed gates. Have you seen it? The interview that went differently, the connection that felt divinely timed, the provision that arrived when logic said it should not, and it feels almost unfamiliar because the story you inherited said, "This never works for us, but now it works for you." Listen carefully. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is covenant favor interrupting inherited limitation. For generations, there were ceilings, financial ceilings, relational ceilings, spiritual ceilings, invisible barriers that no one could explain but everyone obeyed. They tried, they pushed, they prayed, but something always blocked the breakthrough. Yet when it reaches you, the pattern stutters, the resistance weakens, the ceiling cracks. Why? Because you are operating under protection that your bloodline did not have access to in the same way. You are not better than them. You are covered differently, and when favor rests on you, it disrupts history. Have you noticed how protection surrounds you in moments that once destroyed others? Situations that swallowed relatives whole somehow release you. Traps that would have consumed your lineage miss you. That is not random. That is intervention. The enemy expected repetition, expected you to fall into the same pits, expected the same financial collapse, the same relational sabotage, the same spiritual stagnation. But something blocks the fall, something shields the impact. That something is protection activated by covenant. Psychologically, you may feel imposter syndrome. You may question why you are advancing where others struggled. You may even feel guilt for surpassing limitations they never escaped. But reject that guilt. You are not betraying your bloodline by rising. You are fulfilling what they could not reach. This is what dissolution looks like. What never works for us begins working for you. What people like us don't do, that becomes your testimony. And favor does not arrive quietly. It announces itself through disruption, through open doors, through restored relationships, through unexpected acceleration. Yet understand this, favor attracts warfare. The moment you step into spaces your lineage never occupied, resistance will attempt to reassert the old narrative. Whispers of doubt, fear of losing what you gained, pressure to shrink back into familiarity. Do not shrink. Stand in the favor. Own the breakthrough. You are not stealing blessings. You are carrying momentum. The sky is opening because the ceiling is gone. And when unusual favor interrupts long-standing limitations, you know something legal has shifted in the spirit realm. Darkness is losing territory. You are gaining ground. This is escalation. This is confirmation. And the warfare will not stay quiet. Seventh, spiritual warfare intensifies without clear human cause. This is where it becomes unmistakable. You move forward and resistance rises. You gain clarity and confusion attacks. You step into peace and pressure increases. And you ask yourself, why now? Because darkness reacts when territory is lost. Have you felt it? The sudden heaviness with no visible source. The unexplained tension right after breakthrough. The strange opposition that seems offended by your progress. No clear enemy, no obvious trigger, yet the atmosphere shifts. Listen carefully. When bloodline karma dissolves, the spiritual architecture behind it does not leave quietly. It resists, it pushes back, it attempts intimidation. You experience pressure that feels older than you, not just personal insecurity, not just circumstantial stress, something ancestral, something that feels like it remembers your lineage, because it does. For generations, certain spirits operated comfortably. Cycles of defeat, patterns of fear, agreements of limitation. But when covenant protection activates, those agreements are revoked, and revoked access provokes reaction. Do you understand what that means? The warfare you feel is not proof of failure, it is proof of shift. Resistance rises precisely when you make forward movement, when you expand, when you heal, when you detach, when you prosper. It is not random, it is response. Opposition seems offended by your peace because your peace exposes its loss of authority. You are calm where chaos once ruled. You are advancing where stagnation once dominated. You are protected where vulnerability once defined your bloodline. And darkness notices. Psychologically, you may question yourself. You may wonder if you are imagining it, if you are being dramatic, but you are not unaware. You are discerning. Only the chosen recognize warfare without visible attackers. You feel the spiritual temperature change. You sense the pushback, and instead of shrinking, you are still standing. That is the evidence. The enemy expected you to collapse under pressure, expected you to revert to inherited fear, expected you to doubt the breakthrough, but you did not. You are still here, still progressing, still protected. The intensity of warfare is not a warning of defeat, it is confirmation of significance. The greater the shift, the louder the resistance. Light does not disturb darkness unless it is actually shining. And you are shining. Understand this. If the covenant had not shifted, the warfare would remain quiet. If the cycle were not breaking, the pressure would not escalate. You are not being attacked because you are weak. You are being resisted because you are impossible to suppress. Stand firm. Do not interpret pressure as punishment. Interpret it as proof. Proof that something legal has changed over your bloodline. Proof that access has been denied. Proof that you are carrying a new authority. The darkness is reacting because it senses its eviction. And this is not the peak. You become the divider between what was and what will never be again. This is where it turns irreversible. You are no longer just healing quietly. You are no longer just breaking patterns internally. You are becoming a line in the sand. Have you noticed how younger relatives watch you? They may not say it, they may not understand it, but they observe you, your choices, your boundaries, your courage. You are becoming a reference point. That is not ego, that is responsibility. The emotional atmosphere around you feels different now. Conversations shift when you enter. Old jokes do not land the same way. Toxic patterns feel exposed in your presence because you are no longer synchronized with the past. You are aligned with the future. Do you feel that weight history is pivoting through your obedience? That is why the warfare intensified. That is why the favor increased. That is why the clarity sharpened. You are not just escaping a broken system, you are dividing it. Before you there was repetition. After you there will be redefinition. Before you there were ceilings. After you there will be expansion. Before you there was silence. After you there will be truth. This is bigger than personal breakthrough. This is generational interruption. Chosen one, you are becoming the evidence that the cycle ended, and that realization carries gravity. You may feel pressure because you sense the significance. You may feel isolated because not everyone can carry what you carry. Not everyone is designed to stand at the hinge of history, but you are. You realize now that your obedience is not just about your comfort. Your healing is not just about your peace. Your courage is not just about your future. It is about the line being drawn through your bloodline. You are the divider. You are the turning point, and that makes you spiritually dangerous. Darkness loses continuity when you refuse to pass it down. Fear loses inheritance when you model faith. Dysfunction loses legitimacy when you embody stability. You are rewriting without shouting. You are transforming without demanding applause. You are altering the atmosphere simply by standing differently. Feel that. You are not small. You are not incidental. You are not random. You are the disruption heaven planted in your lineage. And when you embrace that identity, something in you solidifies. A backbone forms, a spiritual steel. You stop asking for permission to be different. You stop apologizing for outgrowing the past. You stop minimizing the weight of your calling. Stand in it. Let them watch. Let them adjust. Let history bend. Because you are not just walking away from what was, you are sealing it. And what comes next will make the separation undeniable. Ninth, you sense a legal verdict in the spirit realm has been issued in your favor. This is not emotional hype. This is quiet certainty. Something lifted. Not gradually, not slightly, abruptly. The weight you carried that never belonged to you is gone. Have you felt that sudden lightness, that moment where survival tension dissolved without explanation? That deep breath you did not know you were holding for years? That was not imagination. That was a ruling. For generations, something stalked your bloodline. Patterns hunted them. Fear tracked them. Limitation shadowed them. It felt inevitable, inescapable. But now it feels blocked. You sense it. The anxiety that used to sit in your chest like a permanent resident is no longer in control. The hypervigilance that defined your upbringing no longer defines your decisions. There is calm, not naive calm, covered calm. You feel protected in a way that does not depend on circumstance. You feel shielded in a way that does not depend on performance. That is covenant. Understand this. When a legal verdict is issued in the spirit, pursuit ends. What stalked your lineage no longer has permission to cross into your future. Permission revoked, access denied, case closed. You may not see paperwork in the natural, but you feel it in your bones. A deep internal knowing replaces years of tension. You are not bracing for disaster anymore. You are expecting destiny. That shift is seismic. The enemy counted on generational repetition, counted on inherited trauma to weaken you, counted on unresolved pain to keep you cycling. But heaven intervened. And when heaven rules, darkness retreats. You are not just healed. You are cleared. Cleared to rise. Cleared to build. Cleared to carry favor without sabotage. This is why the warfare escalated. This is why the resistance reacted. Something legal changed above your bloodline, and now you feel untouchable, not arrogant, authorized. Stand in that authority. Do not shrink back into old fear. Do not question the protection. Do not second-guess the covering. You are not surviving anymore. You are established, and this is where it seals. You were never ordinary. You were never random. You were never meant to repeat history. You are chosen, marked before you were born, protected through battles you did not understand, trained through isolation, strengthened through rejection. Every struggle prepared you for this verdict. Every tear built resilience. Every delay forged endurance. Every attack confirmed your assignment. You are not the victim of your bloodline. You are its turning point. Type 9 in the comments if you feel that verdict in your spirit. Let it be your declaration. Let it be your agreement with what heaven has already established. Subscribe if you know you are walking under protection now. This is not the end of your story. This is the enforcement of your calling. You are covered, you are commissioned, you are chosen, and what once stalked your bloodline will never cross your future again.